Solve the equation 4x squared minus 6x minus 4 equals negative 6. In order to solve an equation that has two occurrences of a variable, our general tool is to try and factor. But we'd like to have factored form of something equals 0. If we were to factor this right now, we'd have equal minus 6. That wouldn't do us any good. So the very first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add 6 to both sides of this equation. All right. So we add 6 on the right. We're left with a 0. We add 6 on the left. 4x squared stays the same. Negative 6x stays the same. Negative 4 plus 6, that's positive 2. So we have 4x squared minus 6x plus 2 equals 0. So we could go ahead and we could try and factor this just by muddling around for a little bit. We could look at factors of 2. We could look at factors of 4, try and write down some correct things and try our different options to see if we could come up with the right thing. But maybe an easier way is to go ahead and notice that I got an even number in each of those spots. 0 is even as well. So I can divide by 2. So divide by 2 on both sides of my equation. Divide the left side by 2. Divide the right side by 2. And what do we get? We got a 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. A little bit easier to factor, because now when I try and figure out what do I want to put in all these spots, well, I know that I need a 1 and a 1 there, because the only two factors, or the only pair of factors of 1 is 1 and 1. The only factors of 2 are 2 and 1, so I'm going to have a 2x and a 1x here. Since this is a positive one, the sign here has to either be both positives or both negatives. Negative 3, so I'm going to have a negative in both spots. Right? The 0 comes down. We could check that our factoring was right if we're at all nervous about how our factoring went. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times minus 1, negative 2x. Minus 1 times x, negative x. Minus 1 times minus 1, positive x. Negative 2x minus x, that's a negative 3x. These other bits just come right down. And we get the equation up there. So this step is indeed a correct factoring. Let's go ahead and use that to solve our equation. Factored form equals 0. So either this first piece equals 0, 2x minus 1 equals 0, in which case add 1 to both sides. Divide both sides by 2. We get x equals a half as a solution. Or this other factor equals 0, so x minus 1 equals 0. That's or. In this case, add 1 to both sides. We get x equals 1. So that's another solution for us. Quadratic equation, 2 solutions. We're done.